Leash, you know, they tell us that we've got to build something pre-62. Now, I see what you've got, and it's big.
It is, but Borgie and I love a challenge. We love something different. I see what you've got, and you've gone with something pretty comfortable.
Absolutely.
How does Jess feel about this one?
Oh, she will love it, absolutely.
Excuse me?
Yeah?
Jess didn't have a choice.
Well, you took on the cow.
I'm about to take on an old bullock, I tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe we should explain that. She actually had an accident with a cow. She didn't take on a cow.
True, very true.
So I believe you've got someone coming in.
Yes, I do, and I think I could hear a noise in the background happening right now.
And Jamie's guest is none other than Doug Sprigg, one of the first people to cross the desert. He may have been just 7 at the time, but he knows plenty.
G'day, Doug.
Okay, how you going?
Very well, and yourself?
G'day, mate. How are you?
Good to see you. Yeah.
Well, you wore the appropriate hat.
Oh, I wasn't sure it was the appropriate hat, but that's why we went across the desert in the first time.
It works. Now, the last time I saw you was about 7 or 8 years ago up at your place at Arkaroola.
Yeah.
But tell me, what do you reckon of these rigs?
Oh, well, I've only just seen them. But,
I know.
Yeah. Oh, this one looks in too good a condition, actually.
Well, that's what we're hoping for, so we make it round it, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it will be.
Now, hang
it
on.
will be.
This is Series 1 or 2? 2.
Series 2.
Early Series 2.
So
yeah.
what we're aiming for
Yeah.
is we've got, well, this is 61 model.
Yeah.
You crossed it with your parents in 62, didn't you?
That's right. Yep. Yeah.
So we're on the track.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. The Land Rovers, of course, have got those vents just below the windshield level, like the Nissan had, because in 62 I was 7 years old, and that was my windshield. I could see out through there.
Is that right?
I had a
So good.
very narrow view of the world, and it stayed that way forever.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, come and have a look through.
I'd love to. Huh?
Catching up with Doug from Arkaroola. Well, I've been there. I've seen him once before. I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, and he hasn't changed a bit. He's a comedian, no matter how you look at it, but he's a wealth of knowledge. The information he knows, it's something you could write a book about, because, I mean, we talk about a Blitz, or we talk about the Land Rover, we talk about the Nissan. He knows something about all of them. Battery in the back to run a fridge, and we're good to go.
But there's no oil leaks.
No, these don't leak.
Ah.
No, not these ones. Not when they're on the dirt. You don't notice a thing.
All right, Jamie. So enough about the Landy. Doug,
Yeah.
come and I'll show you a real truck.
Is this a monkey? Is this a monkey face Blitz?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So we've added a few little comforts to the front you probably wouldn't have seen.
No.
Then.
And I don't reckon they had LED headlights.
No, you noticed that.
Yeah. We had same model as a crane.
Yes.
And I reckon, I mean, shouldn't have given it away, but great old machines these.
So, but pretty much everything engine-wise we've kept as is.
Yeah.
A few bits and pieces we've changed. The wheels are definitely one of the things we've changed. So if you come around here.
The Chev had the really strong front axle. The Ford was a bit on the weak side.
Yeah. Well, my granddad would absolutely kill me if I was in a Ford, so it had to be a Chevy. We used to drive these in the war, so.
I think what really hit me about Doug was he was just so down to earth, so normal, you know, he runs his station, he does everything that he does with no real understanding of maybe the impact that family trip has had on people like myself. Doug's knowledge on vehicles was pretty intense as well. I mean, he only had to look at the Blitz, he knew it had dual steering, he knew all those little bits and pieces, and I learnt something from Doug. I had no idea that Toyota had based a lot of their stuff in the early days off the Chevy engine and also the Blitz. So if we're out there and, you know, we get stuck, we can find an old 60 or something like that, we may actually be able to make it work. And, you know, that's all something that I had no idea about. His knowledge was just incredible.
Our crew are catching up with Doug Sprigg, who was one of the first people to cross the Simpson Desert by four-wheel drive, and Jamie had a few questions for him.
So Doug, can you remember much about the trip?
I do, in part because Mum kept diaries, you know, really accurate diaries. So, 1962, I was 7 years old, and I certainly remember quite a bit, but there were a couple of different trips, and that was the first one, and just having it reinforced that was the first trip, and you know, some of those things that happened.
And that old Patrol, or Datsun, was it the old 3-speed?
It was, yeah.
Okay. I just wondered.
Yeah, well, it took a hell of a lot of punishment because you know, with the French line going across the desert, you can keep a little bit of momentum up, but when you're going over individual clumps of spinifex with sand in it, you know, about so high, you don't get any momentum. And when you hit a sand clump, when you try and do a double D clutch back into first, you can get some horrible noises.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, well, I never did that, but you know, certainly Dad did on a few occasions. And the gearbox stayed together. You know, it was just bulletproof.
Well, I was just going to say they were a bulletproof vehicle.
Yeah. And you know, my seat was sort of next to Dad. There were 4 of us across the front seat. We had a drum of 44-gallon drum of petrol and a 44-gallon drum of water in the back.
Yeah, okay.
And that vehicle just went beautifully. Yeah, amazing. I mean, it was just a great adventure for me. I didn't have to worry.
Yeah.
You know, some people said, "Oh, it's amazing your parents took you to the Simpson Desert," and I think, no, it's amazing. They brought me back. You know, just remembering what I was like.
but I mean, if you could make, you know, remember something major about it, what would have been the most memorable part of it for you?
I just couldn't. I mean, as a 7-year-old, even I couldn't get over just how the vehicle stood together. You know, because those old Nissans or Datsuns, whatever they were, Datsuns in those days, were just absolutely bulletproof. And driving, the same vehicle, 50 years later across the desert, brought all that back. Just crystallised it.
Yeah.
No, mate.